If life were a boat race, what's your winning strategy would be? Song that captures your rhythm in life.
Oh my goodness, my rhythm in life. When you are on a boat, especially in the morning when it's calm and the water is beautiful and calm and there's little wind, you can hear it. You can hear that rhythm. You can hear your heart, you can hear your breath.
I would like you to tell our audience about rowing itself, because not many people, I've realized, that are aware of the sport itself, whether it exists.
Myself, personally, I don't like the term success because really the definition is so relative, right? There's a lot to learn, which I really liked about your question. What can leaders learn? And I think if you can have that mindset, that itself is an achievement.
If you are to describe your journey in one word, what would that be and why?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another exciting episode of Rise Beyond Titles. This is the space where we go beyond designations and job titles to uncover the human stories that shape leadership, courage, and resilience. Today's story is about alignment of mind and body, purpose and passion, empathy and discipline. In a world where people are trying to find the balance, my guest has rowed her way through it, literally and figuratively. In a country where women are rarely found in sports, she chose to lead not by breaking noises, but by building a rhythm. She is a Harvard certified design thinker, an alumna of LUMS, faculty member at IBA, a sustainability consultant, and a level 3 certified rowing coach who trained with Olympians and have trained the next generation of athletes in Pakistan. Please welcome Wajeeha Asim. How are you, Wajeeha?
I'm
Thank
good.
you so much for joining the session. It's wonderful to have you here, and I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation.
Gee, I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be a lot of fun.
Yep, it will be. Pehle to I must say, what a journey. I memean, when I went through your profile, I was like amazed. I said, what is this woman doing so much? How? So, pehle to I want to know, if you are to describe your journey in one word, what would that be and why?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. And to encapsulate it in one word, I think at a very basic level, I would call it very varied.
Of course.
There have been so many different things, and as you highlighted, that I have sort of done over the years. So varied is a word that would come to my mind.
All right. And of course, you've answered why varied, because there are so many facets to your journey that we'll explore in this conversation. So yes, definitely. And even I was like amazed. What is she doing? And that's the first question I asked you. So you've kind of crossed industries and, from boardrooms, from corporate to sustainability to classroom, I would say, from corporate to classroom and to water. And you haven't followed a straight lane, so to say. And why so? I mean, you've already said varied. Why and how?
So it's an interesting question because when in retrospect you sort of look at your life, and especially when you are looking at a biography, when you're even making a biography, you look at all the stuff that you have done, and then you are trying to you end up thinking about, okay, why did one do this? Why did I do this? Why did I not do this? And so a lot of the decisions that I made, I would say in retrospect, were very fluid at the moment. I know that when we look at people's biography, so we tend to think that, oh, they must have planned things, or they must have had some vision, or they must have had... I do believe that obviously there are goals, there are overall visions that I had, but somehow or the other I found myself just sort of moving along with circumstances in life. I was working abroad, and then when I moved back and got married, again I was working, then I had kids, and I chose to, and I was fortunate enough to have that choice. I chose to sort of take that flexible route of working, and so that I could spend more time with my kids, which I'm very grateful for. And in that, I think I got very lucky. I was very fortunate to have met people who were able to accommodate, who were able to sort of work around me, bring me in, and utilize whatever I had to offer within certain constraints. So it was fluid in that sense. The industries that I switched, I still feel like I have a touch of everything in that still. I was part of the consulting world. I was in management and marketing for a while. And it was interesting because uske andar, you do try to figure out where's the impact, what are you trying to achieve. And for that, I actually then did another master's. I had an MBA before, and then I did a master's in development.
Okay.
Specifically regarding poverty reduction, because it was something that I was keen on moving into the development sector. So that was one of the things, and because I had consulting under my belt, I was able to sort of transition in terms of work. I was able to take on projects that were in the development sector. So while there was a management and marketing experience, I could bring that to the development sector, and I could have that understanding with the theoretical knowledge of the MSc that I did. And then, I don't know, again, part of wanting to make some impact, I think I really realized, probably very intuitively and not very explicitly, that I really did like to share knowledge. And then again, when I got the opportunity at IBA, when I started to teach there, I think that was 2015, it was really wonderful because I met with graduate students, and this was before COVID, so it was a different dynamic. And it was just very interesting to figure out what younger people are thinking. And these are not very young kids. They are young adults who have worked a couple of years. And it was really interesting to teach them. And my course was social marketing, which is basically about making an impact from a social perspective, and how do we make changes in behavior for social good. So there was that development aspect there as well, some social impact aspect there. And then getting into coaching, I just feel like it was almost like a natural extension, to be honest. So I do still end up having my hands and feet in different sectors, and it's really lovely having those intersections kind of come together.
Yeah. Okay, now I'd like to bring attention to your journey in rowing. So before actually stepping into the boat, I would like you to tell our audience something about rowing itself, because not many people, I've realized, that are aware of the sport itself, whether it exists, what is actually rowing. So a bit about rowing,
Sure.
and then your journey, how it started, because it's very interesting.
Okay, so rowing is, I'm biased obviously, so I will start with, it's a fantastic sport. It can be done on land and it can be done on the water. And the idea behind it is basically that it's a low impact sport. It's great for all ages. I mean, we have kids as young as 8, 10 here. Abroad, it can even start younger because of differences in equipment. But as young as 8 or 10, all the way, I mean, you can row until your 90s. And it is a sport, if you specifically talk about the water, you have thin boats. One of the interesting things about rowing is that it goes backwards. So when you are actually racing, you're racing backwards, which is, in racing, that's the front. And you have 2 oars or 1 oar, depending on the type of rowing that you do. And you can either be on an individual boat, or you can have an entire crew, all the way up to 8 people, plus 1 who is steering. So different boat classes are there, different types of rowing is there. And we're lucky enough to have a body of water that we can actually do this on in Karachi.
And so how did you get into rowing? I mean, that's something very intriguing and I really
Yeah.
want to know.
Yeah, so actually, I mean, the story is not as exciting. Basically, my daughter started rowing when she started grade 8. And one of, so a good friend had advised, just put her into rowing. It's a good group of kids. She had just transferred to a new school. And it was just an interesting suggestion that, oh, why don't you put her into the rowing team? Because it's a good way of sort of figuring out and meeting people from all across the grades, and kids really settle in well with it. And so I started taking her, and I mean, I'd be sitting there because it's a time-consuming, time-intensive sport. I mean, it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I would be just sitting there waiting for her until I asked one of the people in the committee, what about me? Do you think I can give it a try? And they said, of course, hop on. And I think that was it. That's all they needed to say. I got my application in, signed up for the membership, and got on. And it was, I mean, I think now I'm more addicted than my kids.
Because it's there's been no stopping to it since then, huh?
Yeah, really. I mean, it really, really was wonderful. I was lucky enough to find a coach who was extremely supportive, and also a training buddy. Again, another supportive rower. And, it was wonderful to actually find like-minded people who want to sort of grow in the sport. And there's no talk about, well, you're old, or there's an age restriction. And I love that about it, that, somebody like me who has, who had only been sporty until maybe till the age of 12 or 13. It was me coming back to a sport, any sport, after such a long time. And then being able to sort of do it with no one holding you back and pulling you down that you can't do it. So yeah, that's basically it. And it's been, I think, maybe 8 years, 9 years.
That's wonderful, because my daughter also tried to convince me a lot to join the sport, and she would always give me your example. Mama Wajeeha auntie bhi to hai, she does it, and why can't you join it? But somehow I was, I'm so busy in my work routine that I've not been able to pick that up. And I did try that on the machine though, but I kind of didn't like it so much. It didn't sync with me, though I am into some other sport that I love. So I thought that, I should be doing something that I love. Absolutely. Rather than, just doing it because my daughter wants it.
No, 100%. And that's what keeps you going.
Exactly.
Your interest,
Exactly. And I totally agree with the thought that you need to play some form of sport, because that completely, it keeps you fit. Two, it releases all your day's stress. And third, you can actually see progress, performance, and you can actually see growth there, which in itself motivates you more to, do more of it or be good at it.
Absolutely.
Achha, rowing se hi baat karte hue, rowing is a sport which is about rhythm. You move forward with the team. When people move forward, logon ke saath hi. So it's a team sport. How do you bring that principle and that thought into your classroom with your students or with your teams that you work with? How do you bring that principle into work?
The principle of rhythm.
Yep.
So it's interesting, because while one automatically can assume that the rhythm and the movement, the synchronization only comes with a crew. Yes, of course it does. But you'd be interested to know that even in a single, which is a boat that I sort of train in the most, you can actually build rhythm even in that. Because the way you breathe, the way you move, the ratio of, and I'll use a technical term, the ratio of your drive to the ratio of your recovery within the boat, that itself is a rhythm.
Yep.
And when you are on a boat, especially in the morning when it's calm and the water is beautiful and calm, and there's little wind, you can hear it. You can hear that rhythm. You can hear your heart. You can hear your heart. You can hear your breath. And translating that into other parts of life, maybe the classroom, maybe the work, I think it's more just the mind and the stillness, the mindfulness that you end up experiencing on the boat, whether it's in a crew, and that you can also experience in a crew and a single boat. It's that mindfulness, I think, that can come in and translate and transcend the classroom, as well as maybe, a business setting.
All right, that's a very thoughtful response to my question, which is wonderful. So you're also a rowing coach, and as a as a facilitator or in the classroom as a teacher, you're also a coach. So as a coach, you focus on mental resilience. So how do you bring that concept into kind of the workplace, and how do you bring that into actually unlocking the potential?
In the work, you mean specifically
in
in
the
business,
workplace or in your students, because while you're working with the students, be it your be it the young athletes or the classroom students, how do you work on unlocking their potential?
Sure. So, interestingly enough, mental resilience can be trained, right? Which is why, there's this entire research body about, how can you train the brain, and lots of psychological aspects of not only sport, but just building people and capacity. In coaching, the way to build mental resilience is to actually create opportunities in training for your athletes to experience some sort of hardship.
Okay.
Right? So if I am
like pushing the boundaries,
or just throwing them a curveball, they've gone on a boat, they're expecting something. Like, for example, I'll tell you, when we were training for one of our performance camps, I was supposed to stand up, and as a coach, I was going to have all the boats lined up, and I was going to have them start. Now, because I knew that they would be training in a different country, anything can happen. There's so many different things. So what I did was I decided that I'm going to speak French.
Okay.
I didn't tell them, and I know that I got a few giggles and laughs on the boat, but the idea is, it doesn't have to be a mean thing that I'm doing. It's just that I'm throwing them something different to deal with under a high-pressure situation.
So now we also know that you speak French.
No, I don't. I learned a few words, trust me. It wasn't that I spoke French. It's just I learned a bit of, different languages. I think maybe, I don't remember, I learned some other language as well. So I did that, just to sort of mix it up. And then sometimes you will give them very different workouts, or something, you would give them a very difficult workout. Because like there was this one workout that we did, and I remember when I announced it, everyone just froze because they thought that, oh my God, we are not going to make it through. Well, not only did they make it through, but I did hear back from them, some of them, that look, after you made us do that workout, we felt that we could do anything. So it's just that, if you give them hardships within the training time, it sort of builds that, okay, well, in an actual race day, there can be so many things that go wrong. How do you sort of, snap back quickly? And that's the key principle. In businesses and classrooms, I may not have a very clear example of how to build mental resilience, but I know that I can make things tough for the students. They will want something, and, just to sort of not give it and not make it too easy sometimes, even though it's very doable for a professor or a teacher. But you will still hold back because you know that there will be some learning that they will walk away with. In businesses, because you are client-facing, that may not be always ideal to try and develop anyone. But if you have juniors, then you can give them tasks that sort of level up their skill.
So, you just talked about businesses and how leaders can, one of the most important role of a leader is to develop the people in their teams. So, what do you think leaders can learn from athletes in terms of consistency, in terms of drive and recovery? What is it that leaders can actually learn?
So much.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think in any walk of life, whether you are a high-powered leader, whether you are the CEO of your home, whether you are working on a farm, whether you are an athlete, I think all of those same principles will apply if you want to achieve your goals. And I hate myself personally. I don't like the term success because really, the definition is so relative, right? There's a lot to learn, which I really liked about your question. What can leaders learn? And I think if you can have that mindset, that itself is an achievement. And if you can learn discipline, consistency, and just remembering that not just the journey towards whatever it is that you want, whether it's very hard and fast that you know that you want this, or whether it's just a loose idea in the future. I think knowing that it's not always fun, you know, that there is going to be parts which are going to be super boring. Yes, you will have great moments where you do really well, but there will be a lot of times where you're like, well, what am I doing? I don't even know how to do this. Why did I do this? Why did I put myself in this situation? But the idea is that that struggle is what will actually build your character, your neurons, your pathways, whatever, you know, the psychological part of it. From a physical point of view, from athletes, you know, the physical training develops you physiologically.
Yeah.
And all of those hurdles sort of make you come up a level.
True.
So just remembering that it's not always going to be fun and games, whether in the boardroom, whether in business, whether in a classroom, a subject that you've taken, or in a sport.
Yeah.
And then still keeping at it. That's, I think, something that perhaps will be an important lesson for everyone, leaders as well as athletes.
Yeah, I think that's the crux of it. And I love the statement that you made about, you know, not all will be fun. Not all elements will be fun. In fact, most part is not fun, actually. You know, the only fun part is the sense of achievement when you go through those hurdles. And every time you're, you know, kind of pushing your boundaries and coming out of that comfort zone and achieving something, or even not achieving something, the only fact that, you know, you're progressing gives you that you know, that feeling of accomplishment. That in itself is, you know, like simply just to say coming out of your comfort zone. So in your roles, your varied roles, as a consultant, as a teacher, as a coach, as an athlete, as an entrepreneur as well, and as a consultant, if I have missed any, please let me know. I mean, there are countless roles that you are, and of course as a mother. What is it that you know, brings you out of your comfort zone on a regular basis? Which one of those roles is the driving force?
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's a tough one. 100%, I think by being a mother.
Oh wow, I love it.
100%. Because, you know, you have these little ones looking at you. And whatever you do, they are not, they don't have to witness anything. They can feel your energy, right?
True.
And they pick up on it. And not only are they your biggest critics, but they're also your biggest supporters. And and you want to try and show them, you know, that the things that they can do. And and if I reflect back, I think my mother, fearless in her own way. So, you know, I feel that that was a fantastic learning for me. And something, by the way, I realized very late in life that, oh, I think this is me. You know, this is her, why I'm able to take kind of steps and say, yeah, okay, fine, let's try this. But I would want, being a mother of two girls, I would want them to also know not only that, yes, you know, so much is possible, but also that how much is also not possible. And again, not everything is wonderful and happy all the time. There are boring bits and there are stable bits, and that's okay. So I think they are the ones that would, I would say, So parenting is the one that keeps pushing you to sort of, you know, at least in my, and it doesn't have to be obviously the same thing for everybody. There will be something. I think for me, it's being a mother.
Yeah. I can completely relate to it. You know, it's tough being a mother. Coming to one more aspect that I wanted to basically seek your input and thoughts about. I mean, in Pakistan, you don't see very many women or girls in sports. अगर स्कूल लाइफ में या कॉलेज लाइफ में खेल भी रही होती है लड़कियां, तो when they grow up, you know, they don't pursue any sport. I mean, I don't see many women playing any sport per se. Men, you do find in clubs that they are, you know, into some form of physical activity. Those who, but their wives are just at home. So, in that kind of society, you were pursuing a sport at this age. What kind of, what do you feel about the whole, you know, aspect of women in athletes, and what kind of message would you like to give to our audience, especially the younger girls?
So there's so many different things about it. This is a bit of a multifaceted answer, perhaps, but I'm going to try and keep it not too long-winded. See, there's actually a scientific reason also behind why a lot of girls sort of drop out of sports, at least based on some research. And that is that when girls go through puberty, there are changes in their body, structural changes that sort of literally make them move differently. You know, there's widening of some bones, there's filling out of other structures, and that actually makes them awkward. Right, in terms of movement. So when you see a girl, maybe she's 9, 10, 11, and she's sort of going through changes, that's the point when they start becoming not good in sports, right? All of a sudden, they're, you know, while they have been coming first, second, third in a race, all of a sudden they're not able to run the same way. So from a scientific point of view, that's the point when a lot of girls sort of drop out of sports. And I think a part of that is a lack of awareness on the part of our sports teachers, perhaps. How do you accommodate for that? How do you reassure them that this is just a phase? How do you make it easier for them to stay in the sport? You know, how do you encourage that? So that's one aspect of it. And I think because of that, and somehow there becomes, I suppose, status quo, where, you know, you don't see a lot of women coming up anyway. And so then the federations and then the other committees and whatever sports is available, they sort of see this, you know, comparatively higher number of men.
Absolutely.
And then there's also, you know, the aspect of safety and safeguarding that women perhaps require more, young girls require more, and the parents of girls also, you know, want to be assured.
Conscious,
so I know that, you know, living in an urban city, that may be a different aspect compared to, you know, places which are far more removed. I mean, I was hearing from a father who trained his own girls in squash, these wonderfully talented girls who are doing so much here for Pakistan, but we don't hear of them. But it's also because, again, the structures have not been developed. So I'm not faulting anybody. It's just that I think it's just that things are moving towards the right direction. There are women coming up. It's just obviously slower. There just there need to be systemic changes to sort of encourage that pipeline. I know for a fact, like, you know, there are our Higher Education Commission requires every sport to have a female captain. So while it may not be enough, I feel like things are progressing. And the message to young girls would just be simply, I mean, it's not really up to them. More the coaches of the younger girls, that please try and figure out ways to keep them in the sport so that they can, you know, they actually can do really well if given the right support.
Wonderful. Another thing attached to this, you know, the second part of this question is that it is very important. I've now realized, I mean, I had realized it earlier, but now as I'm growing and I'm aging, I realize it more so that staying fit is, you know, it's very crucial, especially for women. So it's very important for women who are, you know, above 40 at least to invest their energies into strength training.
Yes.
You are fit. you are into sport already, which requires a lot of strength and stamina. Of course, that in itself, plus I know that you do strength training. So what would you say about this whole aspect, and how would you like to communicate this message through this conversation, through this episode?
So, it's interesting. Because I love rowing so much, it's a repetitive movement.
Yeah.
And my entire purpose, goal for doing strength training was that I didn't want to get injured. Because injuries mean me staying out of my sport.
Yeah.
So for me, it was almost like a no-brainer. Like, okay, I'm going to do strength training so that I can have stronger muscles for resilience, right? And injury prevention. But the impact of that on me, being able to move, being able to lift in daily life, I mean, alhamdulillah, if I can pick up a bottle of water and I don't need to rely on someone to do my work for me at an older age, I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
It's
and
a
I
blessing.
think more than fit, I mean, it's just being healthy. And I would never advocate for strength training to lose weight as much as to build health. Because,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure you know, but just for the sake of the conversation, we know that we lose muscle mass every year.
Yeah.
And especially women are at a higher risk of things like osteoporosis. And I'm not a medical practitioner, so I don't want to, issue any solutions. But strength training has been shown to increase muscle strength and help us in terms of movement for longer. So I mean, it's such an easy ask to train twice or 3 times a week to do strength training. You don't have to, lift hundreds and hundreds of kgs, of course, or pounds. It's just that something that you can just move functionally at the age of 70 eventually.
True.
That would be pretty good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so wonderful to hear it from you about all these aspects. And this also tells, it when I looked at, as I said, that your profile, I was like, one can do so much. You don't have to feel restricted. And as it is, women in our country feel restricted that they just have one job or they are within a certain boundary or limitations. Some of it is self-imposed and some of it is societal.
Yeah.
And hearing all this from you, it also tells me that, one doesn't have to stay within those limits and boundaries. And that's why, I picked up this title, Rise Beyond Titles. So it's like removing those boundaries,
Sure.
looking beyond. What do you think about this particular aspect, and what is it to you, removing those boundaries?
So one thing that I'm very mindful of is that this impression that we take away as women of being able to do it all, I do think it's a bit of a fallacy. It may look great, that I've done so much, but I also am very cognizant of the fact that it was done over a period of 25 years. So it's not something that I was able to accomplish overnight. And again, I am privileged enough to have support from my family. People don't have that. So being able to do everything, I think, is not something that may apply to everyone.
Yeah.
And women, we still have a long way to go in terms of, being able to do everything that we do want to do. And I think it's so okay if people don't want to do multiple things.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for women who have, decided to work 9 to 6, 9 to 7, and still end up managing. And I know it's a struggle.
Yeah.
I absolutely know it's such a huge struggle. And, sometimes they have supportive partners and sometimes they don't. But picking all of that up, it is extremely tough. And I think it is so important to recognize and voice that it's not easy, whatever path you take. And again, this is not about men versus women. It's just, I'm just only going to be talking about women because that's my experience.
Yeah.
Is that it is tough. Whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, Whether you're married, whether you're not married, whether you're working, whether you're part-timing, whether you're flexible, it's tough because there are many different requirements from our culture. And having it all, it needs to be put into perspective that, specifically for me, it was done over a number of years, right? And any of it is okay.
Yeah.
You can do it. I think Urdu mein is the word niyat.
Yeah.
I do believe in that, if you set your intention and then you try, you don't make it your end all and everything, but you keep trying towards something.
Yeah.
Somehow or the other, in some way or the other, it will come to fruition.
True. I mean, I can totally resonate with that thought. Yeah. And I think with the same thought that I came up with starting this podcast, and the idea was to just, find out these inspirational stories and stories that could be shared across and where people could learn so much. And I knew that you have a wonderful story behind that I wanted to bring out and, share it with the audience because I know there's a lot to learn. Coming towards the end, one last question before we go to the final segment, which I call the fun segment, with which we are going to end today's conversation. What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? Because that motivation, that drive, we talked about that drive. So that drive, what is your source of drive?
I think if I look at it externally, I do think it's my kids. If I look at it internally, I feel that it's just the love for learning.
Okay.
And I think in corporate speak or in business speak, that's the growth mindset. I'm not saying that I'm a guru at it, but I know that I've always loved to learn. I mean, if you put me in a classroom forever, I will stay there. I love to learn. And it's just that, if you want to sort of deep dive into different things, it somehow sort of leads you into different directions. So I don't know. It's just me. I feel just wanting to learn different things has always been something that has helped me and helped me sort of keep motivated.
Wonderful thought again. और मुझे सुन के इतना अच्छा लग रहा है because not many people believe, again a myth, that learning की एक certain age है, you've learned and now you just perform. Whereas I feel that, I also feel exactly the same way, that if you're not on that continuous path of learning, आप कहीं ना कहीं stagnant हो जाएंगे. और चाहे आपकी health हो, चाहे it's your mind, it's your body, it's your thought process, your character, everything grows when you're on that path of learning. And learning something new keeps your mind alert. So exactly the thought that I have, and I think learning was also one of the aspects that I started this initiative with. And I would also like to share here with everybody that Wajeeha was introduced to me by my daughter. And when she met Wajeeha, she was so inspired by her, because she came up to me and she said that, there's this wonderful person, Mama, that we have a new coach and she's so wonderful. She does strength training and she's rowing and she's almost your age. You don't do it, see. So that's, and I was intrigued to meet you. I met you earlier और मेरी आपसे इतनी कोई detail में conversation नहीं हुई, but now that I'm actually finding out more about you and I'm having this in-depth conversation with you, I'm also really inspired. So thank you so much, Wajeeha. But as I said, that one last fun segment. So this is a fun and light segment where, I would like to call it a quick lightning round. Okay. It's a one-word answer only and a spontaneous one. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Just a few questions. Your favorite rowing command?
Row with integrity.
Row with integrity. That's so wonderful. That's so powerful. Not just wonderful, but it's very powerful. I hope that when you say this command, your
No, they straighten up.
students,
They straighten up.
they straighten up. All right, that's wonderful. Row with any historical or inspirational figure. Who would that be?
Ooh, historical or inspirational figure.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Who would you like to or aspire to row with?
So I
One
met
day.
I met this Olympian, two times Olympian rower, Gillian Lindsay, in England recently, and we were meant to go on a row.
Oh,
It didn't work out, but
Okay.
I would love to go on a row with her.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That, interesting. And yes, we must appreciate that you have trained with the Olympians.
Yeah.
So this is an achievement in itself.
Gee. I've had some wonderful coaches. One of them is a two-time Olympian. One of them has trained with the national team in the US. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to find people who have been helping.
And आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही थी. When you have that niyat and your intention, God paves those way with you. I mean, आप सोच भी नहीं सकते और आपके सामने वो opportunities और वो चीजें आके खड़ी हो जाती.
You know, I know this is a bit of a digression from your lightning round, but I remember I used to go on this website, a school website, because I really wanted to do a degree in development, and I couldn't travel because I had young kids, and financially also didn't want to put in that kind of money into a degree. And for 2 years, I would just browse websites of this educational institution. And I'm not kidding you. One day, I'm sitting and I'm going through it, and literally on this degree that I would want, I'm like, wow, this is so great. There's a little caption box. It says there are 10 scholarships available for Pakistani students.
Okay.
And it was, I mean, literally, it was everything that I could have asked for. It was a scholarship, fully paid. It was something that I could do distance learning, staying in Karachi. It was just something that, you kind of manifested. It took 2 years.
एक मूवी का मशहूर डायलॉग है कि किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो वो सिचुएशन क्रिएट हो जाती है कि वो आपके पास आ जाए. You get that. शिद्दत होनी चाहिए और लगन होनी चाहिए. By the way, the objective of this lightning round, so called, is to dig deeper actually.
Okay.
And just towards the end. Okay. A song that captures your rhythm in life.
Oh my goodness, my rhythm in life. Oh, that's a hard one.
But is there a music or a sound or a song that that you love to listen to?
There's a new one. It's called Amalfi Coast.
Okay.
And it sounds like you are on a beach.
All right.
So
that's nice. So that calm, soothing sound.
It's soothing, yeah.
Okay. If life were a boat race, what's your winning strategy would be?
If life was a boat race, my winning strategy would be just breathe, rhythm.
Go with the flow.
Actually, there's this. My coach and I use this term. It's called hang and drive. I think that would be it. Somehow it encapsulates it. Hang and drive. I don't know if that would make sense in life, but it's just about placing and pushing.
All right.
So making your mark and then pushing. Maybe that's something I could use.
All right. Wonderful. So great responses. You've done wonderfully well. And I was able to achieve further objective with this lightning round. Thank you so much, Wajeeha, for acknowledging my request and actually coming to having this conversation and speaking your heart out. I'm really happy that we had a very candid conversation and you were able to share your thoughts. And seriously, as I've mentioned in the conversation earlier as well, कि मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया आपके साथ बात करके और आई मीन जिस तरह से आपने अपनी थॉट्स शेयर की, इट्स वंडरफुल एंड आई एम श्योर हमारी ऑडियंस को भी बहुत कुछ आज सीखने को मिला होगा.
No, thank you so much for having me. I mean, it was really nice to hear from you, and I actually really enjoyed having all of these questions and the back and forth. It was very interesting. Thank you so much.